Welcome to SwineTime Podcast here at Pipestone. I'm your host, Dr. Spencer Wayne. I'm one of the vets here on staff. We have a few guests today with us to talk about a very timely topic as we go into summer fair season, to talk about how to interact with the public at county fairs and at state fair events or something like the Discovery Barn in Sioux Falls. We got a couple of folks that are, I would say, well-versed and good answers to give, have done this a lot, and they are Alicia.
My name is alicia.place. I work for Pipestone as the Communications Coordinator.
And Sylvia Wolters.
Yes, I've been with Pipestone for nearly 25 years, and the last 6 years have been in doing this capacity in discovery pig spaces and talking to consumers and people about where their food comes from, and very passionate about delivering that message and filling that gap from our farms to their forks.
Yep. I've had the pleasure of working with both of you for several years, and I know you do this a lot, so you have a lot of great things to share. And I would say, guessing it'd be in the hundreds of different events, maybe thousands of events you guys have done over the years. How many interactive events have you done between the two of you, do you think? Whether it's the state fair or county fairs, where you're interacting specifically with the public, answering questions?
So we collectively, from the Pipestone company perspective, are active in 10 county fairs around the area, as well as other oink outings and probably 10 or 12 events a year that are specifically interaction with public and asking consumers and talking to them about where their pigs come from.
But it's in the hundreds, thousands of it, at least hundreds and hundreds of events that you guys have done where you're talking to the public about agriculture of some sort.
Yeah. We are careful to include all of the ag community in our communications because we focus on pigs, and that's our feature, but we're all in this game together about producing food. Consumers don't just eat pork. They have eggs and beef and other things, and corn and soybeans as well. So it's important to have the whole picture included.
When you want to talk about why it's important to prepare versus just winging it when you show up?
This is a great time for you to share your story and to know your why. Why are you farming? Why are you wanting to talk to consumers about what you do? Only 2% of the population raise food for the entire world, and you are part of that 2%. You're on the farm, you know what you do, you're the one that should be telling your story, and this is a great time to share that passion and share the story of safe food.
First, on tips on communication, and that's what we're talking about here, is about how we talk about what we do and share our passion is important. We, like Alicia said, you are the 2% that are raising the food with care and compassion, and to get that message out, you need to do it. Is it hard to do? No, it's not hard. Is it intimidating? Immensely intimidating for some people. And so that's what today I think we want to talk about a lot is how do you get over that being intimidated? And we can give you some tips, and we want to give you some guidelines about words to use and words to lose, and then things that make it easy for you to communicate. And is it just at the fair? No, it's at Thanksgiving supper. It's at the family company or family summer picnic, and when you're doing some grillings. But being comfortable and sharing what you do.
People, when they come up to the oink booth or to any kind of one of these interactive situations, what's the basic background? They're curious. They're folks who live in town. They just want to know about agriculture. What is the person you're trying to find a common value with?
A lot of it is just people in the communities that just don't know. And a lot of them don't know until you tell them. So they're asking super simple questions, and we're there just to tell them how we raise for animals and how we care for the animals. That's kind of the main thing. And people don't care about what you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah, a lot of these shared values interact with how you treat the animal, I guess, and
so to be able to relate to the person that you're talking to, they obviously don't have your same background, or likely don't have your background. So find a shared value. What is common between you? Because they will resonate with that. And if they find out that you care, or that you have children as well, or that you care about the environment because, I do a lot of hiking and backpacking and go to the Boundary Waters. I care about the environment, and I raise pigs in a barn. Okay? So that once and if they have that shared value of environment, or shared value of responsibility and respect, fairness to the animal, and fairness to the earth, then they will listen to you. But if you try to push your values on them without finding the shared one, then you will have less success.
And the shared value also helps with the communication, the conversation, because you have something to go back to and relate to, and it helps the conversation flow a lot easier.
Yeah. So for a different thing than this, I was reading a book recently, Crucial Conversation and Crucial Confrontation. A lot of that is about building a common story and getting on the same page as the person. I would say that's probably a real valuable setup. Person comes up, establish connection, then you got doors opening for other things as well.
Builds trust. Absolutely builds trust.
You mentioned word choice, and so go through a few of those, if you would.
Sure.
When you're talking about it, what do you say? What don't you say?
Right. I always start out with this. Okay, this isn't just about pig farming and about you working at the Discovery Barn or the Oink booth at the State Fair. This is about life. All right. You've already experienced this. When your mom or your dad or spouse says, "Okay, fine," or "fine," what does that mean, right? And how you present the word, the word, and your choices can evoke a whole different response. And so remember that the response that you are going to evoke is emotion. And you want that emotion to be a positive response and not a negative one. So choose words that provoke positive emotions, right? So we think about it when we work in the pig barn every day and are out there, you're talking about crates and culls and all kinds of words that we have in our vocabulary that when you talk to a mom on the sidewalk, she might go, "What?" And have a different emotion evoked than when we are talking about it.
So, for
example, when you talk about a sow living in a crate, that word versus a stall. So we prefer that you choose the word stall, and we should talk about sows in stalls or pigs live in farrowing pens, because it is an open-ended type of a word. You go potty in a stall and leave. You're not confined there. If you're put in a crate, you're shipped overseas somewhere. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that kind of emotion that when you say that word to someone off the street, that they are immediately going there, what their recollection is of that word.
Right.
And so we need to use those words to match their recollection, not ours. Okay?
Right.
So stalls, hogs and pigs are another one. Pigs, we refer to it, they're cuddly, they're cute, they're fun to play with. Everybody loves them. Regular off the street people really don't want to eat a pig because it's so cute and cuddly. But a hog, that's a little bit harsher, robust word. So when we're talking about market size, we talk about hogs. When we're talking about baby pigs, we talk about pigs because we want to stimulate that emotion of like, I like pigs. Now we've grown it up and it's a hog, then we want to go to a little bit space where it's okay to sacrifice this animal's life to sustain our own.
Okay. So you mentioned also market instead of slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Is another example.
Yep.
In all these things, you're not trying to be misleading, disingenuous.
Not at all.
But I think it's just basically you say something in a more positive image light. I don't know if you want to say that. How best way to say it?
So it's oh gosh, there's a whole bunch behind it from a psychological perspective, but you need to resonate with words that people already have a marker in their brain for and they recognize on a positive image, right? So when we talk about slaughter, we think that's positive because we have just grown up a product that we are able to turn into food. Mm-hmm. My sister-in-law, we talk about slaughter, she's thinking about the Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Okay? So her marker for slaughter is a whole different view than what you and I have when we think of slaughter. So that's your marker memory. And so you need to trigger those things and be cognizant of what others think of what those words are. Total common and good for us, but they are just not what what a regular off the street person, non-farm person would be.
Right. And the other one you got in here is farmer instead of producer.
Correct.
So like in our minds, like producer, but
that's a really tough one because for going to school, college, growing up, I was a farmer. I was a farmer's daughter. I was a farmer. So you want to be, okay, I'm going to be a producer. I'm going to be successful and do all these as be a producer. Just to find out that once the whole industry shifts to be calling us producers, then we realize the consumers go, oh yeah, you're just doing this for money.
Yeah.
And so when a farmer is doing it from a organic, personal growth, want to raise food perspective. A producer is doing it to make money.
Right.
From the other side of the fence.
Yeah, perception.
Perception. It's all about perception.
And keep these terminologies, don't just use them when you're talking to consumers, use them in the barn so it becomes a habit. So when you do have those conversations, it just comes naturally to you.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing that we tend to do from our side of the gate is use a lot of acronyms and the GDU, G-Barn, those kinds of things. The person that's coming up to the other side of the gate to talk to us doesn't know what a GDU is. They don't know what a G-Barn is.
Yeah.
And then again, even G-Barn's another one. Even if you say this is the gestation barn, you say that this is the gestation barn, this is where the moms live while they're pregnant.
Yeah, you should follow
because
it up with the
they don't even get it sometimes. Right. It's unbelievable that people don't understand.
Yes.
So.
But Molly, when you were working at the Oink booth, did you know everything?
Definitely not.
You did not. You admit it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Were you scared to go in there and interact with people though?
Yes.
You were? You did it anyway. Okay, good. So what did you do when somebody asked you how many pigs does the mom pig have? When you didn't know, what'd you do?
I would go find someone else and ask them, and then I'd tell them the answer.
And then you knew? Okay. All right.
And then I'd tell everyone else who asked me that later the same answer.
Okay, so verify with some folks if you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's for maybe a young person coming in. Any advice from you on when you're interacting with the public and you don't know something, what is the best route?
I think what Molly did is exactly what you do when you admit you don't know, and then you find with them the correct answer. So if you do get asked that again, you do know the correct answer. So what Molly did is what I do. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some that are going to be off the chart or whatever, and you just say, man, that's a great question. I wonder that myself. Maybe we can look it up somewhere, or that's a good thing to put on the shelf to find out. And you don't have to go all the way down the rabbit trail to get it if it's something really detailed or whatever. But
yeah.
The basics, and the other thing is about you need to sense the integrity of the question. If somebody's asking you a question just because they want to fill dead air, then whatever. But if they really want to know, like how many hormones are used in a sow, right? Mm-hmm. What exactly are they? How do you stimulate heat? Those kinds of things. Then you might want to get and find out, because you now know that this person knows a lot, right? Mm-hmm. It's a different level of person. Yeah. So refer them to someone or get to the right area. So I'll put a plug into volunteering. Don't be afraid. Come help at some of our discovery spaces. We have lots of opportunity to share your passion, and we don't leave you out there hanging, because there will be someone there that has done it before and has experience with you. You are likely never left without resources.
Yeah. So this last point you list here is keeping your emotions in check, and I'm thinking, what would that be? And logically, it comes into mind. It's a negative. It's stressful. Somebody's maybe being hostile towards you or to agriculture, and you feel very defensive. Am I going in the right direction where you have to keep emotions in check?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's something you have to focus on and work towards. Sometimes you get people who just have completely different opinions on things, and so trying to get them to understand how we do things is different than their mindset of things, and they're going to argue that their way is the right way. So you have to make sure you're not arguing with them, and you're just showing them that we care, and that sometimes you just have to agree to disagree and ask that you respect each other's decision. Okay.
Out of curiosity, what are the examples of, like, what would be an example of a place where it could get heated?
In my experience over the years, the most common one is about sow housing in the stalls. And if if it's in a stall, how long and why, and those kinds of things, and people, they'll be adamant about one way or another. So being careful to recognize that there's different ways, and then also recognize the opportunity to improve. So in our trainings with our interns, I'd like to say glass, not an ocean. Now think of that. A glass of information, not an ocean of information. So oversharing can be troublesome. So a prime example that will be memorable for most of you that raise pigs is at a outing, a farmer was asked, hey, there is this disease going around that's killing lots of pigs. That's going to make the price of bacon go high. What are you doing about it? Is there anything you can do about it?
And it was PED. Right?
Yeah, it was PED. And so the farmer responds, oh, yes, you're talking about PED, and pigs are dying. A lot of them are dying. It's going to make bacon go up. And so the visitor asks, well, what are you doing about it, or what can you do about it? Oh, we have a solution for it. It's called feedback. And the person is like, feedback? What's feedback? And then you go into the description of what feedback is and how you make it. All of a sudden, the person on the other side of the fence is going, I'm never buying pork again. That actually gives an immune response and works. And not to be hiding anything, but oversharing the actual there is more than the consumer can take.
Yeah.
And so a more appropriate answer would be something like,
there is a sickness that is getting piglets sick, and it is affecting the markets, and we're doing what we can to help save every piglet. And then if they ask more questions, then you follow up with more detail based on what your sense in the conversation is going to go.
And I even say, if you got a crowd of people there and somebody's really getting in the weeds, you might even say, hey, stick around and talk to the person individually so you get them what they want without it being in a really weird, awkward situation.
Right.
I've had that happen a few times where I say, man, come over, I'll tell you kind of how much. So they knew, but you didn't sit there and have an audience not understanding what's going
correct.
on. Okay, some role playing. But there's some good response and some bad responses, and I'm going to pull my young daughter into this for a few of the responses. I'll be the Joe Public. I'll ask a question. I'll turn it over to yeses and nos. So Alicia can give the bad answer. I like that.
I'll take it.
Okay. So, question. How long do pigs live?
We slaughter the pigs when they're like less than a year old.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. A few key words. I heard slaughter. Basically slaughter. The word slaughter probably did it all. So Sylvia, why don't you explain maybe what a better response might be?
How long do pigs live? Growing pigs that we're making into bacon, they live it takes them about 6 months to go from 2 pounds to 280 pounds. So they go from this 2-pound pig that you're seeing here to that pig over there that's 280 pounds in 6 months. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's time to make bacon.
Yep. So I heard a key difference. One is slaughter. All they get is visions of blood. Versus talking about the end product, which they enjoy, bacon.
They enjoy bacon.
And then the other thing, anytime we talk about growth rate, it is amazing to say this goes from this to that, the 300-pound pig in the pens over at the state fair in a matter of 160 to 150 days to get to that kind of a weight.
Yep.
Almost 2 pounds a day.
In your word choice, it totally dissolves the killing the pig. It not dissolves it, but it dilutes it. It dilutes the killing the pig factor when they realize that's where bacon comes from.
Right. Everybody likes bacon.
Everybody likes bacon. All right. Here's the next question. What do you guys give for hormones and whatnot?
Yeah, we give our pigs a lot of shots to keep them dying, keep them live longer, and yeah.
Keep from dying. So I heard negative thing, dying. Give them a lot of shots. So like they picture getting needled every day, and then to keep them from dying. That's the only thing supporting their life. All right. So I would say, got it. Good answer.
And I would answer your question to be that we do vaccinate our pigs in order to keep them healthy, just like you would have your kids be vaccinated or your dog be vaccinated to prevent them from getting sick. And we want it. So we do use some vaccines, very few antibiotics. We go with a program that only when needed. So own your response.
Like that. And one of the next questions has to do with antibiotics. A little bit deeper, but what you guys said is vaccination. We all been through the COVID thing now, and everybody kind of appreciates that vaccines are a tool for that, and so why we need them. But then the only when you need it, only when necessary type message. Next question. What about all these antibiotics that I hear about? You guys are always giving antibiotics to pigs. Let Alicia have the bad answer again.
Yeah, we don't use them as much as you think. It's too expensive. It's all blown up on the media, but all the meat in the grocery store is safe to eat. There's none in there.
Yeah. So negatives that I would hear in that, too expensive. You're only focused on the dollar. And then it's not as much as you might think. Well, that's still in place. It might be a lot. And how do you frame that up relative to whatever other things are that the pigs are getting? Antibiotic resistance. You're hitting a bunch of hot words right there that you probably didn't pull into the right perspective for a good discussion. Sylvia, good answer?
If you're asking about antibiotics, I'm sure that we have a shared value. I have kids too, and I want safe food for my kids and my family. And so how we practice antibiotic use in our farms is we only use it when the pigs are sick because we want them to work too. And so overusing of antibiotics is not helpful for us. And so we want to use it only when they're needed.
So that's the shared value thing too. I'm a mother, I'm a parent. Okay. Next question. How long does sow stay confined like this? Bad answer.
All the time if I had a choice. Our sows live in crates. It's just easier for me.
Okay. So it's all about you and your comfort. All the time implies all the time, like no movement ever for any reason. Negative images brought up in that. Good answer.
Our sows live in an individual stall for some part of their life, especially during their gestation, where individual care helps me see and take care of every mom on an individual basis. And it makes it so that she gets personalized care. Growing pigs, the ones that actually go for bacon, they live in a open pen all the time. Mm-hmm. So how long do they stay confined like this? Our sows live in individual stalls. All are part of their gestation period, which helps maintain their pregnancy in a safe way so that I, as a farmer, can take care of everyone individually instead of in a group situation.
Which is all so true. That is exactly why we do it. So they're in there, they monitor their body conditions so they don't get too thin or too fat.
Careful to respect and acknowledge all methods of how they raised. There's many different housing choices. None of them are wrong. They're right for certain farmers in certain places, and consumers have a choice. Yeah. And so that's what's the important message to take home, is that there is a choice. There is a choice. There should be a choice for me as a farmer, and there should be a choice for you as a consumer, as what type of food you want to purchase. And so how we raise it, it's all good. It's all with passion. It's all with integrity in whichever housing method you want. Right. Explain why you make your choices. Again, your why, your shared value, why that choice is for me. And then make sure you're addressing it from a compassionate viewpoint and not a monetary viewpoint.
And just emphasize that what we do is for the care of the animals.
Yeah, that's the key difference on the good versus bad answers. Was like one was centered around you and ease of life for you, and brutal terminology a lot of times without a lot of consideration. The other one really focused on, hey, we're taking care of this animal that we all appreciate for the deliciousness of bacon and for just being good animal caretakers.
There's a couple key phrases that I like people to go home with and have them resonate with and use again and again. And that's one about my goal, however I raise pigs or any animal, is to save every life. I want to save every life. Whether it's every piglet that was conceived in this litter by protecting her in a stall, or at our processes we do at farrowing, and those kinds of things. So my goal to start off, when people ask you a question that might turn controversial, so you know what, my end goal is to save every pig's life. Not monetize it because it makes me more money, but to save the life. And then the other one is, especially when we're talking about baby pigs and at the farrowing display where there's maybe 19 piglets on one mom, and we might be challenged with, wow, that's a lot. How can you do that to her? Good response is, we have our goal, no pig left behind. They resonate with that because they did that with their kids in the 2nd grade. No pig left behind. We do everything we can to make sure every pig survives out of that. And those are just some phrases that are kind of catchy that people remember.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, one more question. I'm going to pull you into this, Molly. You're going to read the bad answer. What happens to these moms in the end? If you're at the oink booth and there's a sow in a crate and they look at the mother and they say, what happens to the moms in the end? What's the bad answer?
The old, spent, or cull sows go to slaughter when they can't produce enough piglets to stay in the herd.
Okay, so that'd be a no-go. Better way to answer. Alicia, why don't you give the good answer?
We use the word repurpose a lot. So we repurpose our sows into brats of pepperoni.
Okay. So one answer, basically it's she's not worth keeping anymore. You think, what is that? That seems uncaring, the way it was said. They go to slaughter, again, another word. So they didn't even use the word market or harvest or anything that might be a little softer. And Alicia used words repurpose. If you think, well, she had a purpose, now this is a second purpose. And I would say it's a very soft way to say what's happening, which is she is being called, but because she has a second purpose. Okay, so we got through a lot of good examples.
And you can anchor that statement with, do you like bratwurst? Did you know that Johnsonville brats are 100% sows?
Okay.
So there's a fact that they can take home that they can resonate with, and they go like, huh. And if they make a comment, you say, yep, it's really good to feel that this mom gets to provide even in her death.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that, too.
Yep.
Maybe they think they get landfilled or you don't know what happens to them.
Or rendered or whatever, right?
The other thing is McDonald's Canadian bacon is all smoked sow loin, right?
All sow loins.
Yeah, so it's tremendous value that comes from her at the end.
I think overall, when you're having a conversation, the 3 simple things to just keep in mind is listen without judgment, listen to why they're asking those questions, ask questions to know why they're asking those questions or what they do know, and then you can share information. But get to know who they are and why they're asking before you follow up with why we do what we do.
Okay.
A lot of the questions we do get asked are super simple, like why are all the pigs pink? Are all these pigs, how many of them girls? How many are boys? Do all of them come out head first? Like, the majority of the time you're getting super simple questions and you may get 1 or 2 somewhat tough questions.
A year.
Yeah.
The difficult ones or challenging ones are few and far between. You'll have more memorable experiences from people that don't know things than you will have challenging experiences. And I think our farmers are more afraid of the possibility of a challenge than they are about how they share their passion.
The farmers are the ones that are on the farms. They're the ones doing this day to day. So if you get a challenging answer, you're going to know the answer because you deal with it probably on a daily basis in your farm. So just share your story and be passionate.
And that's what we need. We need this as a pork community and pig farmers, is because that's where trust and value comes from, is you have boots on the ground. It's your pig, and you get to talk about it. We can hire a marketing company, you can do all kinds of fancy stuff on the web, but trust comes from the heart.
So you guys do this a lot. Well, how would any of our listeners out there get involved with working at the Minnesota State Fair Oink booth, the Discovery Center in Sioux Falls, local county fairs? Things to do for producers or anybody listening would be...
Check with your Minnesota, South Dakota, Iowa pork boards, and they will have oink outings that you can interact with that are already designed and led by somebody else. You just need to show up and come help, and you will get your feet wet with them. Okay.
And if you want to help at Discovery Barn, reach out to me.
Yep, Discovery Barns or any of that other kind of stuff, Alicia, or any of Minnesota Pork for the oink booth at the State Fair, those kinds of things. And then on a more personal level in your own communities, if you want to get involved there, we can help you set up a kind of an interactive booth if you want to have that kind of thing, or you can just take the opportunity to have a conversation at the Farm Bureau breakfast, right? Those kinds of things.
And share your story on social media. It's a great platform to use.
Yeah. Appreciate you all being here. I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in. Join us next time at SwineTime Podcast here at Pipestone for our next exciting topic. SwineTime Podcast was created for the pork industry and individual pork producers around the country. Hosted by Dr. Spencer Wayne with the Pipestone Veterinary Services, the podcast contains pork industry news, advancements in animal care, and how to enhance your productivity. Monthly podcasts are available on Spotify, Google Music, iTunes, Anchor, and on www.pipestone.com.